At IKEA, your dreams can come true. Well, maybe not the ones where you're being chased by a monster. We're talking about kitchen dreams. And there are IKEA products and solutions for all of them. Whether it's a whole new kitchen, a statement glassware set, or just new cutlery. If you got big dreams or small dreams in any size of budget, IKEA can help you bring them to life. Visit IKEA.us/dreamkitchen to learn more. Dream the possibility.
Half Man, the new HBO original limited series from Baby Reindeer creator Richard Gadd, examines the tumultuous relationship between two estranged brothers, tracking the highs and lows of the pair over the course of 40 years. Starring Emmy Award winner Richard Gadd and BAFTA Award winner Jamie Bell. Half Man premieres April 23rd on HBO Max.
Walmart Business is in the business of saving you time, money, and hassle. Whether your business started in a garage or is a garage, Walmart Business has the tools to help you get where you're going. Tools like free shipping, multi-user accounts, and just about any item your company needs.
Even a double filtration cyclone dust collector.
Yep, even that.
Sweet.
Walmart Business. It's the Walmart you love. Now for your business. Learn more at business.walmart.com. Terms apply.
Hey everyone, Jay here. Before we get into this episode of There Can Only Be One, we were about to talk about the U2 discography. I want to put a little bit of a production note here. When we recorded this episode, we had the full U2 discography covered. And then, in between recording and release, U2 released another EP, the Easter Lily EP. So therefore, when you get to the end of the episode and we haven't talked about that EP, just know it's in this magic gray area of time where nothing exists because that's when they released that EP. But go and listen to it and let us know what you thought of that album and what your pick would have been. And with that out of the way, let the show begin. What is up, everyone? Welcome to this edition of There Can Only Be One, the podcast that puts together the all-star best of playlist of your favorite bands and artists. Hello to all of our listeners in Western Springs, Illinois, and around the world. How the heck are you guys doing? All right, so we have gone a little bit easy in March. We covered a few bands with not the biggest discographies. And I guess we're going to keep that trend because we're going with a small band this week. We're going with a band that, maybe you heard one song or two, a little bit here and there. Okay, it's U2. I can't even because it's freaking U2. And here to join me, first time on the show, Jeff Pearce, the bassist from Moist. Jeff, how are you doing, man?
I'm excellent, Jason. I'm fantastic, and I'm super thrilled and honored to be part of your incredible podcast. I've been a long-time listener and first-time caller, and happy to be here. So thanks for inviting me.
Oh, dude, it is an absolute pleasure to have you here. Now, I'm going to ask you, because when you sent me the list of artists that you were, really hyped to cover, there were some really interesting bands in that mix. Of course, U2 being one of those bands. So what is it about U2 that made you want to go through that entire discography today?
U2 was my second favorite band of all time after Rush. Being a kid of the 80s, I was 13 years old when Tom Sawyer, when Moving Pictures came out. But I was 16 when War came out in 1983. And that was the record that literally changed everything for me. It changed my life, changed my personal trajectory. It changed how I thought about the world and what I wanted to do as for a living. It made me want to be a rock star, or a rock musician, or a struggling musician, or whatever. Made me sort of understand how important music can be, and not that my bands have ever even come close to what U2 has done, but it opened up the possibility of that. And so yeah, that's U2 has been basically my favorite band for the last 43. Oh my God. 43 years or so. So I've come and gone a little bit. There's been lots of other stuff that I've really enjoyed, but I keep on coming back to this band.
Yeah, never do the math on this show. Because we go back to the beginning. Never start to do the math, because you can feel the bones start to creak when you start getting up there in numbers. But I mean, obviously, as a bassist, right? Geddy Lee, completely expect. When people think U2, of course, the first thoughts come to Bono and The Edge. But Adam Clayton, I don't know if he gets enough credit for what he brings to this band.
I don't think he does. And especially those first records, when you get into songs like New Year's Day and Two Hearts Beat as One. And there's a lot of really excellent bass driven stuff. And unfortunately, I think his role seems to have diminished a little bit in more recent years, although there are some really great bass lines in the later records, which we'll definitely touch on when we get there. But I think he's got a very distinct style of playing. And I think that his role is very underappreciated, especially like the Acting Baby years, like when he's really driving, kind of somewhat droney, but a really interesting part where the chords change over top of it. Those are really awesome bass parts that are a super important part of the song.
Yeah, there may be some 4-string bias going on in this episode because, of course, Jeff and I are both bassists.
If we're going to turn this into a bass player symposium, I'm all about it.
Yeah. So just so you all know, if it feels like we're just, goosing the bass, it's probably because we are. But here's what we're going to do on this episode. We're going to cover 16 albums from the U2 discography. As always, we're not covering any live or best of CDs. So that means a song like Electrical Storm, which appeared on the best of 1990-2000 CD, that song won't be covered. We're also not covering the Songs of Surrender collection because that's just re-recordings. So we've already covered those songs. However, every now and then, because this is my show, I like to bend the rules a little bit when I can. Rattle and Hum will be covered because it's basically a half and half because you got some live tracks on there, but you do have a lot of new stuff, and Rattle and Hum was an important album for the band. We're also not covering the 3 EP. Why? Because 2 of the 3 songs appeared on Boy, so why bother, right? But let's talk about Boy, released October 20th, 1980. The band, of course, is Bono, The Edge, Adam Clayton, and Larry Mullen Jr. Peaked at number 63 on the Billboard 200 and number 12 in Canada. And it's platinum in the States and Canada. 2 singles on this one. I Will Follow charted the highest, hitting number 34 in New Zealand. So, Jeff, this first album, Boy, right out of the gate, our first introduction to U2, at least the worldwide introduction. Your thoughts on this disc and your pick?
So Boy was the second U2 album that I bought. I had War first, and then when I fell in love with it, I went back and bought Boy. And I couldn't believe, even then, when I was listening to it as a 16-year-old, how mature, like the band comes out of the gate fully formed. It's fully realized. That very first song, I Will Follow, it basically sets the template for what U2 is going to sound like for the next half century, basically. They've changed a lot and modified that a little bit, but I Will Follow is such a perfect mission statement for how the band sounds. And it's like, I know they still play it live often as well. However, that is not the song that I'm going to go for from that disc. I'm going to instead go for the song Electric Company or Electrico, because I feel like that is a great song. It has the same kind of energy and anthemic quality as I Will Follow, but it also sort of shows how they're going to be getting into more long-form songwriting as their career progresses. It's got a long bridge. It's got like a middle section that kind of goes somewhere else completely, and that is my pick.
Yeah, for any talk of some of the songs from U2's vast discography that kind of fit into that 4-chord song pattern, they do have a lot of proggy elements in some of their songwriting.
They do. Yeah, it's hidden sometimes, but it's definitely there. And it actually comes up on almost every record as well.
I'm with you on I Will Follow. It's hard to not mention this song because, of course, again, right out of the gate, debut album, the song is huge. The song still resonates today, and I'm not doing the math, people. Not doing the math. But it's also not my pick. It's on my short list, but it's not my pick. I'm going with one that almost has we were talking about bass. It has a bit of a Police vibe to it. And, of course, Sting being a fantastic bass player, I'm going with Out of Control.
That would be, that's my third pick on that album. It's a great one as well.
Mm-hmm. And that's
got sort of the same Electrico kind of vibe as well.
Yeah, it has some proggy elements to it. Some of this early stuff, I mean, yes, the Police come to mind, but also every now and then I was getting some Joy Division kind of vibes off of their early stuff.
Yeah, apparently, actually, when we get to it, New Year's Day's bass part came about because he was trying to copy a Joy Division bass part and kind of got it wrong. So happy accident.
It's not wrong. It's wrong but strong. We'll go with that.
Perfect.
October, released in October on the 12th, 1981. Hit number 104 on the Billboard Top LP and Tape charts. Yeah, I said tape. Feel it. And number 6 in New Zealand. It's platinum in the UK and US. There were 2 singles on this one. Fire hit number 4 in Ireland and number 35 in the UK. So October, now we're starting to get a little bit more wider appeal. Your thoughts and your pick.
Okay, so October is a bit of a tough record. I really enjoyed October when I got it. It was the third U2 album I bought, and I loved listening to it, and I still go back to it occasionally to listen to, but I don't think there's anything on October that I would consider essential. I know that Gloria still shows up in the live sets. Fire is a great song, and it is one of on my short list. But I don't think there's anything on October that they don't do better on War. And boy, that said, I've always loved I Threw a Brick Through a Window. I like the vibe of that. I like the fact there's almost a small bass solo in the middle of it. And just the overall energy and vibe. And it sounds kind of like a punk rock song. And I've always enjoyed that one.
Nice. I'm kind of with you on this one. So my pick's going to feel a little, out of left field for this disc. But yes. And of course, it's their sophomore major label release. And the old saying goes, you have your entire life to write your debut album, but then you have to put out another album pretty much right after. They did, a year later. So there are still some good songs on here. I had With a Shout and I Fall Down on my short list. But then there's this little moment in the album with the title track, October.
Oh, yeah.
And it's such a raw, stripped down recording, and it's really hauntingly beautiful and just a little like drop in the ocean kind of vibe for the rest of the album.
Yeah, I could have actually easily considered, if I wasn't thinking in terms of up tempo and full band, I could have definitely gone with October. I love October, and it's also the first time that we hear the Edge playing piano, and that becomes a more important part of the overall sound of the band as they go on.
Yeah, and there's something fun about going through a band's discography, because you as the listener also get to realize what it is about the band that you like about them. I have always been a huge proponent of U2's ballads. Maybe it comes from my time as a DJ in high school, because you always wanted to play the slow song because people wanted you to play the slow song because they wanted to dance with their significant others. I get it. U2 was always a go-to for them. I don't know if October would be one of those songs I would have played as a DJ, but I completely appreciate the sentiment.
It's a little sad. The trees are stripped bare from all they were. What do I care? This not exactly a love song, but it's so wistful and mournful. And yeah, it's a gorgeous song.
Let's be honest. Kids at a high school dance, they're not listening to the lyrics when they're dancing.
This is true.
Unlike other AI, Slackbot lives in Slack. It understands you, your team, and your work, so you can ask it for help with anything.
Can I ask it to summarize client feedback?
Yes.
Can I ask it to find time for a meeting?
Absolutely.
Can I ask it to turn our meeting notes into a launch plan?
Sure.
Can I ask it to call me the boss?
Actually, you can.
The balls.
See how Slackbot can turn you into
the balls
at slack.com/meet Slackbot.
There's no one like you, and there never will be.
From the producer of Bohemian Rhapsody, there are many legends, but there is only one. Michael, rated PG-13, in theaters April 24.
Your favorite local grocery stores like Kroger, Ralph's, Fred Meyer, and more are now delivering on Uber Eats. Get 40% off your order of fresh, quality ingredients. Whether you just got home to an empty fridge or suddenly got a craving to whip up something new, you can get everything you need delivered in as little as 25 minutes. Get 40% off your order with code Kroger2026. Plus, members get $0 delivery fees. Order now on Uber Eats. Orders of $30 or more save up to $25. Ends 4/30/26. See app for details.
War, released February 28th, 1983, hit number 1 in the UK and number 12 on the Billboard 200. It is 4 times platinum in the US, triple platinum in Canada, double platinum in the UK, France, and Australia, and platinum in Belgium and New Zealand. 4 singles off of this one. New Year's Day charted the highest, hitting number 2 in Ireland and on the US mainstream rock charts. Now, I'll be honest, I never bought the first 3 albums. The very first U2 album I bought, however, was because of this album. It was Under a Blood Red Sky.
Ah, yes.
And of course, that's a live album. We're not talking about the live albums on this, but I'd be remiss if I didn't mention, because I was a much music watcher back in the day, and the live version of Sunday Bloody Sunday just captured me. Watching that, this is why I've always loved live music videos. It made me want to get up on a stage and play. Sunday Bloody Sunday, from that live performance, was one of the early impetuses of me wanting to play live. And of course, Sunday Bloody Sunday is going to be my pick off this one, even though I love the Under a Blood Red Sky version more so. But what's your pick off of this?
Okay, so this is one of my top 5 favorite albums of all time. It was the one that introduced me to the band. I still have a visceral memory of my friend Graham McDonald playing me the tape for the very first time in the spring of 1983, or late spring of 1983, early summer. I remember hearing the opening drum beat of Sunday Bloody Sunday, and I could picture it like it was yesterday. There's been every song on this record has been my favorite at one point in time or another. I could easily make a case for Drowning Man, or Seconds, or New Year's Day, I've always loved, or Surrender. But yeah, it's Sunday Bloody Sunday. Of course, I'm completely with you on that. And one quick thing about that Under Blood Red Sky EP is that I understand you've got parameters to the podcast, but on that EP, there's a song called Alarm Clock TikTok, which I believe could be the definitive U2 song. And if we had included that, that may have been the one that I would have considered the one. It was their very first single before Boy even came out, but the definitive version, I believe, is on Under Blood Red Sky. But we are playing by the rules. We're not going to pick that song. I think it'd be foolish of me to go ahead and pick Drowning Man or Seconds or any of those songs. It's definitely Sunday Bloody Sunday.
Oh, there are times on this show where I agonize over the rules of the show. When we did the Cure episode, I was like, what do you mean I can't pick Burn from the Crow soundtrack? Because that would have been my absolute favorite Cure song, and yet I couldn't pick it. I am dreading the Pearl Jam episode because State of Love and Trust exists.
Oh my God, yeah. What about Crazy Mary? Love that song too.
Oh, yeah, it's not going to be easy. We have some very uneasy episodes coming up down the road on this show, let me tell you. The Unforgettable Fire, released October 1st, 1984. This is the first U2 album produced by Brian Eno and Daniel Lanois. Hit number 1 in the UK, New Zealand, and Australia, and number 12 on the Billboard 200. It is triple platinum in the US and Canada, double platinum in the UK, and platinum in New Zealand. There's 2 singles off of this one. Pride in the Name of Love hit number 1 in New Zealand and number 2 on the US mainstream rock chart and number 33 on the Billboard Hot 100. And The Unforgettable Fire hit number 1 in Ireland. So we're an album away from arguably the biggest album of their career, but you can hear the tonal and production change thanks to Brian Eno and Daniel Lanois on this.
Yeah, this is a big shift. And I have to say, as a big fan of War, the first time that I bought The Unforgettable Fire when it came out, like the day it came out. And I remember taking it home and putting it on and being a little bit confused by what had happened. Like the very first track, Sort of Homecoming, is atmospheric and dense and swirly and everything that Sunday Bloody Sunday is not. And it took me a little while to warm up to it. It was like, where did my favorite band go? But I put in the time and I put in the effort, and I eventually definitely got there with the record for sure.
All right, so off of this disc, what did you go with?
Well, it's tempting to go with Pride, because Pride is in some ways the bridge song between where they started out and what they went into. It still has the very direct political messaging. It's still got the chimey guitar riff, but it also has atmospheric layers underneath it as well. And so it's tempting to go with Pride. And there's definitely a list that I could make where Pride would end up being my one song. But fortunately, because I have another one song in my head, I'm going to go with the title track, with The Unforgettable Fire, because I believe that this is the first time that the band really got into the long form songwriting style. There's no real course in the song. It's a long, flowy journey. It's got many, many parts, tons of chords. And it's just a beautiful song overall. And when I go back and listen to that record, it's the title track that I reach for more than anything else.
Oh, I had this song on my short list. Absolutely. As well as Bad and MLK. But it's hard for me not to pick Pride in the Name of Love.
I understand. I do. I think I had a version of the list a week ago where Pride was not only the song from this album, but was the ultimate pick as well. So, yeah.
Yeah, this is one of those songs where I have to give credit where credit is due to Bono. Like, his vocals are so strong on this. And, being part of a cover band, it's, you hear certain songs like, okay, this is a fairly easy song structurally. You can jump into it. Then you try to sing it like, nope, no. Just do not have the lung power for that kind of song.
Yeah, Pride also is a great example of a thing that U2 has done their entire career, which is the great wordless vocal part where he can get the crowd singing ba ba da ba 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 da ba. They don't have to know the words. Everybody in the arena or the stadium can sing along with that part, and Pride has that part in such a great way.
Their choruses are so sing-alongable. I'll admit I've never had a chance to see them live, but you can almost hear the arena sometimes just joining in.
Absolutely, yeah. First time I saw U2 live was on the Unforgettable Fire tour, and I know you come from Ottawa originally, and it was at the Ottawa Civic Center, and in April of 1985. And I honestly thought that I was content that my life was complete at that point. It was such an amazing show.
Lansdowne Park. Still love that barn. The Joshua Tree, released March 9th, 1987, hit number 1 in Australia, Canada, the Netherlands, Germany, New Zealand, Sweden, Switzerland, and the UK, and the Billboard 200. It is diamond in the US and Canada, 14 times platinum in New Zealand, 10 times platinum in UK, 5 times platinum in Australia, triple platinum in Denmark and Spain, double platinum in France and Germany, and platinum in Argentina, Denmark, Hong Kong, Italy, the Netherlands, Sweden, and Switzerland. This album is actually tied for the 14th biggest selling album in New Zealand history. You have to listen to this list of albums because there's some on here where you're like, okay, I get it. And there's one, and I'm just going to give you the list here. Okay, remember.
Sorry, you're talking about New Zealand here.
I'm talking about New Zealand.
Okay.
But hear me out here.
Bring it on.
Tied for 14th, Jagged Little Pill by Alanis Morissette. Makes sense. The Wall by Pink Floyd. Makes sense. Rumors by Fleetwood Mac. Christmas by Michael Bublé. And then the one that has me shaking my head, Jeff Wayne's musical version of The War of the Worlds.
That is really interesting.
That is, if you ever wanted a stat, like what album is the Joshua Tree tied with in New Zealand? No one is ever in the history of ever going to say Jeff Wayne's musical version of The War of the Worlds.
Okay, that's really great. That's excellent trivia that I hope I get the chance to use at some point in time in my life.
Oh my God. This is that one little piece of useless trivia that you pull it at a party and people go like, okay, that's either really brilliant or I'm just going to start backing away right now. There were 5 singles off of this one, With or Without You, and I still haven't found what I'm looking for, both at number 1 on the Billboard Hot 100, Where the Streets Have No Name also hit number 1 in Ireland and New Zealand. And this is where the Grammys start to come a-calling. At the 30th Grammys, it won for Album of the Year. The album won for Best Rock Performance by a Duo or Group with Vocal, and I still haven't found what I'm looking for. Was nominated for Record of the Year, but lost to Graceland by Paul Simon. I get it. And was nominated for Song of the Year, but lost to Somewhere Out There by Linda Ronstadt and James Ingram from the movie An American Tail, and already people are going, 5-0! And at the 31st Grammys, Where the Streets Have No Name won for Best Performance Video. I remember that music video. I absolutely do. It was fantastic. So this is obviously the biggest album of their career from a sales and Grammy nomination standpoint. How was this album for you, and what'd you go with?
Okay, so I have a bit of it's an amazing album, obviously, but this is the record where my very favorite band became everyone's favorite band. So I've got a bit of a love-hate relationship with it. I grew up in Napanee. I went to high school in Napanee, Ontario, and it was an age when people's musical tastes were either on the Madonna, Michael Jackson side or on the Van Halen, AC/DC side of things. And U2 was very much my band and the band that I loved and that I had to keep on telling people what they were all about. So obviously, when I first saw the With or Without You video, I knew that it was over. I knew that it was no longer mine. It's such a powerful song. It was such an incredible video. The visuals that went with it were so amazing. And I've got nothing but great things to say about With or Without You, What a Streets Have No Name. Actually, the entire record is amazing. My song, though, from this is Bullet the Blue Sky. Because everything that happens with everything that happened with The Unforgettable Fire in the previous album, as far as like long sort of like focused songwriting concepts, is super narrowed down with Bullet the Blue Sky, where the song is basically one chord, just a droning boom, doom, do, 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 do. Maybe it's two chords, like if you want to count the last beat of every measure. But within that, there is a focused story. There's the lyrics are incredibly vivid and perfect. The bass part just goes on. It's just the perfect restrained bass part. The guitar playing on top of it is explosive and incredible. And again, from this record, that's the one that when I go back to the Joshua Tree, that's what I go back for Both Blue Sky.
I mean, how do you just pick one song off this album? Like, this is one of those seminal front to back discs. Even Queensryche on their Take Cover album covered Bullet the Blue Sky.
Oh, is that right? Really?
Which is a fantastic collection of covers from Seattle's prog masters. I would be remiss, and I might upset all of Canucks Nation if I don't go with Where the Streets Have No Name. Hockey fans, you all know that the team comes out to a song. The Canucks may have nailed it because this is the song that the team skates out to and the entire arena just absorbs it all. I know there's no playoff hockey in Vancouver this year. I'm sorry, guys. I accept. I appreciate. It's a changeover, but you still have one of the best intros for any hockey team in the entire NHL. But I mean, that build up though.
Oh, it's an intro that's built for arenas, regardless of whether there's a rock show in it or a hockey game playing in it. It is made for an arena for sure. Yeah,
and this is one of those songs too where I really feel like, as much as Bono's going to get all the love and the Edge is going to get this is an Adam Clayton song. This absolutely is.
Absolutely, yeah. No, it's a great bass part, holding it all together. Fantastic song. I can't argue with any choice you would make from this record.
Yeah. Right now, people are looking at that CD and the track list and go, nope, I can't. I'm out. I can't pick one.
Yeah. I mean, even the second side of the disc, which is like, I know that apparently, according to legend, the album was actually sequenced, put in order by Christy McCall, who was married to Steve Lillywhite at the time, the singer Christy McCall. And she basically put the songs in order of what her favorites were, top to bottom. And but there is the stuff on the second side is just as good as the stuff on the first side. At least a lot of it is anyway. And yeah, there's a reason why it's the 14th best-selling album in New Zealand.
Right up there with the musical version of The War of the Worlds.
They don't just pick anything there. They're obviously discerning listeners.
Right? Forget Alanis, forget Michael Bublé. It's War of the Worlds.
I'm going to have to stream that as soon as we're done this podcast recording.
Oh, sure. I am so curious. I'm sure it's worlds better than whatever Ice Cube did. Rattle and Hum, released October 10th, 1988. Hit number 1 in Australia, Austria, the Netherlands, Germany, New Zealand, Norway, Switzerland, the UK, and the Billboard 200. It is 7 times platinum in Australia and Canada, 5 times platinum in the US, 4 times platinum in the UK, double platinum in Switzerland, and platinum in France, Germany, the Netherlands, New Zealand, Portugal, and Spain. There are 4 singles off of this one. Desire charted the highest, hitting number 1 on multiple charts and number 3 on the Billboard Hot 100. And Angel of Harlem hit number 1 in Canada, New Zealand, and the US mainstream rock charts. At the 31st Grammys, Desire won for Best Rock Performance by a Duo or Group with Vocals. Then, at the 32nd Grammys, the album was nominated for the Best Rock Performance by a Group or Duo of Vocals, as was When Love Comes to Town. So they had 2 nominations for the same award at the same Grammys, but they both lost to the Traveling Wilburys Volume 1. And Angel of Harlem was nominated for Best Song Written specifically for a motion picture or television, because of course it was for the Rattle and Hum movie, but lost to Let the River Run by Carly Simon for the movie Working Girl, and It's Stuck in Your Head Now, and I'm Not Sorry. So off of this disc, what did you go with?
Okay, so this is definitely an interesting disc when I first got my hands on it back in the summer of 1988. It's a mixed disc. I'm glad we included it. I'm glad you included it on the list, despite the inclusion of covers and live versions and that kind of thing, because there are basically half of it is brand new. And of the new stuff, I'm going with Angel of Harlem because it's such a throwback song. And they had the Memphis Horns, who were that great horn section that participated in so many Stax recordings and that kind of thing. And it really showed that U2 was not a band that was afraid to experiment. And it was, in this case, they were experimenting by looking back. They were looking back into 60s, early 70s type music. Even the Desires, the Bo Diddley kind of thing. And they'd be looking, forward more in the albums to come. But I've always loved Angel of Harlem. I love the imagery of it. I love the lyrics. I love the horns. I just love the overall kind of vibe of it. It feels almost like a Van Morrison song or something like that. Absolutely.
I had Angel of Harlem, Desire, and Hawk Moon on my short list. But this is where, including this album, and you couldn't, because of course Desire and Angel of Harlem were big songs for them. But I'm so glad that we included this album, because some of U2's best songs, at least from my personal taste, have appeared on soundtracks. So I was all worried, because All I Want Is You from the Reality Bites soundtrack is also on this disc. To me, this is U2's second best soundtrack song. We'll get to the other one a little bit later, but I remember the Reality Bites soundtrack, which of course is probably on the Mount Rushmore of 90s movie soundtracks.
Oh, for sure. It and Singles are, yeah.
Oh, and The Crow?
The Crow. Oh, yeah.
Oh my God. Like the argument for the Mount Rushmore of 90s soundtracks could go on forever, but All I Want Is You just stuck out so much from that soundtrack. And I was so happy to see it on this list, where there are times when we mentioned I agonize on this show. Thank God this song is on this disc, because I love it.
Yeah, it's a great song. I got to play it at a theater event. We do an event with my karaoke band called Sarnia Sings every year, where they pull in a bunch of local singers and book out a theater. And they bring in their family and friends, and my band backs them up. And we did All I Want Is You on one of those shows. And it's a beautiful song. It's got another one of those deceptively great Adam Clayton bass lines underneath everything. Another excellent, essentially 3-chord song, but everything is in its right place and it's perfect.
Yeah. And I mean, there's something to be said too about a song that can translate from an arena to a campfire. And this is one of those songs.
Yeah, absolutely. Good call.
Achtung Baby, released November 18th, 1991, hit number 1 in Australia, Canada, the New Zealand, and Billboard 200. It is 8 times platinum in the US, 5 times platinum in Australia and New Zealand, 4 times platinum in the UK, double platinum in Denmark and France, and platinum in Argentina, Austria, Germany, the Netherlands, Norway, Spain, and Sweden. There are 5 singles off of this one. In Ireland, The Fly and Mysterious Ways and One all hit number 1. Mysterious Ways charted highest overall, though, hitting number 9 on the Billboard Hot 100. At the 35th Grammys, it was nominated for Album of the Year, but lost to Unplugged by Eric Clapton. And yeah, absolutely. But it won for Best Rock Performance by a Duo or Group with Vocal. So obviously there was a massive change from the Joshua Tree to Achtung Baby. Rattle and Hum, yeah, okay, it's still very much in that Joshua Tree kind of vibe, but this is a massive change. And of course, the arena to stadium show change. How was that change for you?
Okay, so this was the fall of 1991, which many people have noted as being the most important season in rock music in the last well, maybe forever. That's the in that same fall we had Nevermind, and we had Blood Sugar Sex Magic, and we had 10 was out just a few months before that. And we had the Black Album just before that, and I'm missing.
I think it was others. Use Your Illusion 1 and 2. Use
Your Illusion 1 and 2. And so I was living in Vancouver then. My roommate and I, Mark, had moved out to Vancouver to start a rock band, which eventually became Moist. And we were living in a house, and we were spending all of our time and money on just writing and songs and playing stuff. And I'd kind of drifted away from U2 at that point in time. I was listening to Pixies and Nirvana and all the Seattle stuff that was happening. And again, my friend Graham McDonald, who was living in Vancouver at the time too, showed up at our door, and he was like, "Man, I just checked out I just got the new U2 album. You guys have to check it out." So, because we didn't have much music, so we hadn't seen the advanced signal for The Fly, and he put it on, and my mind was absolutely blown. I couldn't believe it, and I completely fell in love with the band again. It was huge for me. I absolutely love it. I still love this record.
So, what's your pick off of this?
I'm going to pick The Fly because it's the first time that we hear Bono's falsetto in a really commanding kind of way, where he really carries the choruses with it. It was the first single. It was the introduction to the world that they had changed. I could have also gone with Zoo Station, like the very first song off the record, where it sounds like your CD player's skipping, and it's such a surprise. Honestly, the whole record could be my short list. It's an incredible record. Could have gone with One, which I'm guessing maybe if you pick the ballads, that might be your call. But I'm going with The Fly.
I had One on my short list. I did. One, it's a fantastic ballad. It got played at many a dance that I DJ'd at, I fully admit. But I find it's not one of their best slow songs, although it can't be ignored. I also had Ultraviolet, Light My Way, and Acrobat on my short list.
That's like, Acrobat is like one of the only songs I can think of theirs that's in 3/4.
Mm-hmm.
Which is, they don't write in odd key signatures very often, but that's a great example of that.
But listeners to this podcast know that, of course, we have our sister podcast, It's Not That Bad, where we talk about all the bad movies and try to find good things to say about them. It hurts sometimes, which is unfortunate because you don't get to talk about the good movies on that podcast. And one of those good movies is a song that I relate to from this album, even though they have nothing, they've never met the song in the movie. It's not on the soundtrack, but if the movie Miracle Mile, starring Anthony Edwards and Mare Winningham, ever did have a soundtrack, Until the End of the World needed to be on that soundtrack. This is such a cinematic vibe for this.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No, I didn't realize until many years ago, many years afterwards, that the song is meant to be a conversation between Jesus and Judas in the Garden of Eden. And if you know that, and you listen to the lyrics again, not the Garden of Eden, in the Garden of Gethsemane, listening to it again with that knowledge just like takes on an entirely different meaning.
See, now I'm trying to picture this as a soundtrack conversation between Michael Sheen and David Tennant from Good Omens.
It could work in many different ways.
Now I need to see someone please on the internet make that mashup happen. Until the End of the World meets Good Omens has to happen.
It is a great song. Again, I just want to come back to where we were talking with Adam Clayton's bass lines earlier, because this is a record that is driven by such incredible bass lines. They're all over the place.
Oh, absolutely. And the other thing too is like this mid-tempo groove, right? Like there's something about a mid-tempo groove that just lulls you in and just makes it comfortable.
Yeah. No, it's a great dance record. It really is.
Zooropa, released July 5th, 1993, hit number 1 on 11 different charts, including the Billboard Hot 100. It's 4 times platinum in Canada and New Zealand, triple platinum in Australia, double platinum in the US, and platinum in Argentina, France, Spain, and the UK. 3 singles off of this one. Numb charted the highest and hit the mainstream rock charts at number 2. Stay, Far Away So Close, hit number 1 in Ireland and number 61 on the Hot 100. At the 36 Grammys, it won for Best Alternative Music Performance. This album, though, like coming off of Actung Baby, you could see some of the musical stylings and whatnot still kind of carry over a bit from the Joshua Tree. There's stuff on this that is completely out of left field.
Absolutely. If Actung Baby was them experimenting and learning how to work within the confines of irony for the first time ever. Zooropa is where they got almost whimsical with it. And I got to say, I actually, when this record first came out, I didn't get it at all. I had it had gone too far. And now, years later, 30 years later, it's in the top 3 of my favorite U2 albums. I just love it. I keep coming back to every song on it. I love. I've really embraced this album. And my pick from it is, I love Lemon, I love Numb, I love The Wanderer, the great duet with Johnny Cash. Not even a duet, really. It's just a Johnny Cash singing a U2 song. But my favorite song from this album, and one of my top favorite U2 songs, is the title track, Zooropa. And it's another great example of their long-form songwriting, where there's no chorus, really. It kind of starts with a chorus, and it just kind of takes a journey. It changes groove in the middle of it. And yeah, I just love that song.
Yeah, it's hard not to pick the singles from the U2 because, their singles are so ingrained in musical lexicon. So, of course, songs like Lemon and Numb are going to be in the conversation, even though Numb is just one of the weirdest videos, I think, in the entire U2, videography. Lemon is a fantastic song. And again, this is Adam Clayton just laying down a really cool groove on this.
Oh yeah, it's really good.
I'm going slow again. I'm going with Stay Far Away, So Close. And this is, I don't know if U2's ever done like a full stripped down acoustic show. You have to think songs like this would be in the mix in that.
I'm sure, absolutely. But yeah, I can't remember if Stay is on the Songs of Surrender album, which is basically stripped down versions of these songs. I had a hard time struggling through that collection of songs, so I can't remember if Stay's there or not. But it's a beautiful, another great campfire song for sure.
Yeah, this is one of those proof positive, and I know I constantly, dear listeners, I'm sorry, but I have a fancy for full orchestra performances. U2 would kill with a stripped down, backed by string orchestra kind of performance, and songs like Stay Far Away, So Close, I think would be elevated in that kind of milieu.
I agree for sure. Yeah.
Let's take a little left turn at Albuquerque here with Original Soundtracks 1. This album was recorded under the name Passengers with Brian Eno, released November 6, 1995. Hit number 76 on the Billboard 200 and number 9 in New Zealand. Was gold in the UK and Canada with one single, Miss Sarajevo, featuring Luciano Pavarotti, hit number 4 in Ireland. So, real musical departure here. Obviously, releasing it under a different name is probably the best way to go. What were your thoughts on this disc?
It was a tough one for me. I listened to it quite a lot. We were still living in Vancouver, and we were spending all of our time writing songs for our second record at the time, which meant that we had we've always been a band that worked in the daytime. We would get together at 9 a.m. and work until maybe 7 o'clock at night or something like that. So we had our evenings free, and Mark and I, our guitar player, and I spent a lot of time with 2 other friends of ours. It's just, we were all kind of like single, and we knew we were moving to Montreal soon, so we weren't putting in any effort to make any more kind of like roots in Vancouver. And we spent a lot of time just hanging out at night and playing cards and listening to music. And Passengers was one we had on all the time, and I still can't remember anything about it except for Miss Sarajevo. I love Miss Sarajevo. I've always loved it. I dig it when I hear it coming up on the YouTube Sirius XM channel, which I listen to quite often. And just when Pavarotti comes in of that song, it gives you goosebumps. It's amazing.
Coming at this from a almost cinematic theatrical kind of vibe, I was really curious about this album. The idea of these songs, that some of them did end up in soundtracks as well. It was a little bit of a hard listen. I'll agree with you on that one. Your Blue Room and Theme from the Swan made my short list. But then Slug came on. And I was really kind of vibing on this. And it almost feels like a song that should have been written during the pandemic. Like people just not wanting to get out of their pajamas and whatnot. There was something almost kind of relatable about that.
Oh, wow. Huh.
Pop released March 3rd, 1997, produced by Flood, Howie B, and Steve Osborne. Hit number 1 everywhere, including on the Billboard 200. It is triple platinum in Canada and Italy, double platinum in New Zealand, and platinum in Argentina, Australia, Belgium, France, Hong Kong, Japan, Norway, Spain, Switzerland, the UK, and the US. There are 6 singles off of this one. Discotheque hit number 1 in Ireland, Canada, and the UK, and number 10 on the Hot 100. And at the 40th Grammys, it was nominated for Best Rock Album, but lost to Blue Moon Swamp by John Fogerty. So obviously, we're back to the big production now. We're back to bigger songs. Your thoughts on Pop and your pick?
So Pop was definitely is the least loved U2 album, I think, in a lot of ways. And I think it's a little bit unfairly kind of characterized as them having gone too far. I think there's a lot of really great stuff on Pop. There's also some really horrible stuff as well. Miami's awful. Playboy Mansion's not great. But there's stuff like Please, which is really cool. There's Gone, which is amazing. There's Staring at the Sun, which is kind of like U2 doing an Oasis song. And I don't love it because of that. I'd rather hear U2 doing U2 than doing Oasis. I feel like if it hadn't been for the video for Discotheque and the kind of the weird turn with them turning into Village People at the end, I think people might have taken the record slightly more kindly. And I also think that around that same time, or just a few years before there, U2 had provided the song Hold Me, Thrill Me, Kiss Me, Kill Me to the Batman Forever soundtrack. And it's a great U2 song. It's also another one that I would put on my list of top 20 U2 songs. And if they had held that song back and released it as the first single from Pop, I think we'd be having a completely different conversation about the album Pop. That said, I'm going to go with Please. And again, it's because of the bass line in it. It's got a really slinky, cool bass line. The song is hidden kind of deep in the album, but it's a really cool song with a great Adam Clayton contribution.
Right now, you're giving people that Batman Forever remembrance vibes. And
now, have you done Batman Forever on the It's Not That Bad?
We have, and I actually, unironically, still kind of love that film.
I love it too.
I'm not the biggest fan of Tommy Lee Jones in it.
Yeah, he's a little over the top. I mean, yeah, he's trying to compete with Jim Carrey, who should be over the top.
Val Kilmer made a fantastic Batman. Maybe not the best Bruce Wayne, but he made a fantastic Batman.
It's the car. Chicks dig the car.
Right. And Nicole Kidman in that film. Come on.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
But speaking of soundtracks, this is where we got to get back to that talk, because on this disc, and thank God it's on this disc, is my favorite U2 soundtrack song, If God Will Send His Angels, off the City of Angels soundtrack. This is a movie that I still can't believe qualifies for It's Not That Bad with an under 60% Rotten Tomatoes score. This soundtrack is so good from front to back. This song kicks off the entire soundtrack and stopped me dead in my tracks the minute I heard it. And it still has that effect today.
So are you pro City of Angels or are you against City of Angels?
I'm pro City of Angels, actually.
All right, yeah.
This is one of those things where I'm like, yeah, no, that movie's getting covered, because I have many good things to say about that film, mostly because of the soundtrack. But the film is really good, and it's not the typical, stop thinking about Nick Cage as, crazy, insane Nick Cage for the people who saw Gunslingers last year. This is one of the most underrated Nick Cage performances in a film.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, are you familiar with Wings of Desire? That's the movie that it is based on.
I never actually got a chance to watch the Wim Wenders, the original film, but fully aware of where the actual movie comes from. But yeah,
and then Stay Far Away So Close from Zooropa
is basically City of Angels. Yeah,
it's from the sequel, the Wim Wenders sequel to Wings of Desire. So there is a whole tie-in there as well. So
amazing,
interesting, cool, yeah, good song.
The new LinkedIn Hiring Pro can't undo your last hire. The empty seat. Who is actually just that, an empty chair in your office because you couldn't find someone to fill it. So it just sat there costing you money with all its fancy ergonomic features. But LinkedIn Hiring Pro can make it easy to fill that seat with the right candidate, with nearly 60% of businesses finding someone to interview in the first week alone. Hire right the first time with LinkedIn Hiring Pro. Post a free job today at linkedin.com/quality.
Refreshing Wild Cherry Cola. meets smooth cream. The treat you deserve. Pepsi Wild Cherry and Cream. Treat yourself.
TaxAct filing software and live tax experts can help small businesses easily knock out their taxes. Actually, our experts can help you find deductions and credits for any sized business. Itty-bitty businesses, medium-sized, really big, mid-sized, small businesses, companies with 0 employees, and mom-and-pop conglomerates. Yep, our tax experts can help all of them. TaxAct. Let's get them over with.
All right, we are now out of the 1990s. So we're going to take a little pause here. So, Jeff, fill us in. I know Moist had a really busy summer last summer. What's up with you guys?
Yeah, so we had a great summer last year. Feels like every few years we kind of everything kind of aligns, and we decide that we feel like going out and doing a handful of shows. And we all have, it's been a long time since we all lived in the same city and took this on as a full-time thing. But it's kind of like our Moist right now is kind of like our it's like our hunting group, where every few years we put aside the other things that are going on in our lives, and we look around and we decide that for the moment our other careers and our children and our aging parents and our pets can afford to get by without us for a few weeks, and we go out and do some shows. And yeah, we did that in the summer of 2025, God, last year, and had a great time. And we're sitting this summer out, but we'll do it again in a few years, hopefully. So yeah. You can check in with moistonline.com for up-to-date news if you're wondering if we're on mothballs or out rocking at the moment.
Yeah, dear listeners, if you get a chance to go see them, absolutely go get a chance to go see them. We've also covered their discography already on this show, so have a listen to all their albums. There is some really, really good stuff, especially even into the later albums as well. So go listen to Moist, stream them, buy the CDs, and now we continue on.
I appreciate the fact you covered us as well. It was great to see that, and I appreciate that you took the time. So thank you for that.
Oh, there was no way we weren't going to cover it, because honestly, some of those songs are like, speaking as a bassist, just heavy bass grooves that you just cannot get out of your head.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
All That You Can't Leave Behind, released October 30th, 2000. Once again, produced by Brian Eno and Daniel Lanois. Hit number 1 on 20 different charts, including number 3 on the Billboard 200. It is 5 times platinum in Australia and Canada, 4 times platinum in the UK and US, triple platinum in New Zealand, South Africa, and Spain, double platinum in Belgium, Denmark, Netherlands, and Switzerland, and platinum in Argentina, Australia, Brazil, France, Japan, Mexico, Norway, and Sweden. 4 singles off of this one. Beautiful Day charted the highest, hitting number 1 on 16 different charts worldwide and number 21 on the Billboard Hot 100. But all 4 singles from this album hit number 1 in Canada. At the 43rd Grammys, Beautiful Day won for Record of the Year, Song of the Year, and Best Rock Performance by a Duo or Group with Vocal. And at the 44th Grammys, Elevation won for Best Rock Performance by a Duo or Group with Vocal, and was nominated for Best Rock Song but lost to Drops of Jupiter by Train. The album won for Best Rock Album, was nominated for Album of the Year but lost to the soundtrack for Oh Brother, Where Art Thou. Stuck in a Moment You Can't Get Out Of won for Best Pop Performance by a Duo or Group with Vocal, and was nominated for Song of the Year but lost to Fallen by Alicia Keys. And Walk On won for Record of the Year, was nominated for Best Rock Song but lost to Drops of Jupiter by Train, and was nominated again at the 45th Grammys for Best Rock Performance by a Duo or Group with Vocal, but lost to In My Place by Coldplay. So clearly, All That You Can't Leave Behind is a return of everyone freaking loving U2, and the songs really feel like a return to what worked for them.
I don't like this record. It is of the U2 canon, it's the one that I go to the least. I find it the bands that you mentioned there that they're competing against, like even Coldplay does more adventurous things than what happens on All That You Cannot Leave Behind. Beautiful Day, I enjoy it when I hear it. I play in the karaoke band. I enjoy playing it. The lyrics in that song are great. Stuck in a Moment That You Can't Get Out Of, and Walk On. I just dislike those songs so much. They're just they sound like bad train songs to me. Yeah, it is the album that I enjoy listening to the least in their entire catalog. That said, I've always liked Elevation. I love Elevation. I love how fun it is. It's a great live song. It was one of the highlights of their. I saw the tour after that, after the Heart tour, the All You Cannot Leave Behind tour, and Elevation was one of the best, most fun songs they played that night. So Elevation is my pick for this.
Actually, Elevation didn't even make my short list.
Really? Wow.
This is part of the fun of this show too, is good because everyone listens to music a little bit differently. So hearing like, okay, everyone kind of loves this album, but you don't. That's okay. Stuck in a Moment and Beautiful Day both made my short list. I went with a deeper cut on this one. I ended up going with Kite. And this was the first time I had actually listened to this whole album. This is the first time I'd ever heard this song. And it was I need to hear that song again. And then I need to hear that song again. Yeah. There's something about the chord progression and the bridge in this. And again, Bono's vocals really do kind of stand up from this one. And you have to think that, yes, I'm going to say it's 2000, so maybe they weren't making mixtapes, maybe mixed CDs, but you have to think if someone's making a mixed CD for someone, Kite's going to be one of those songs that kind of ends up on there.
And it's like a song about his kids too, or about spending time with his kids, and you can't fault him for that.
Oh goodness, no.
Yeah.
How to Dismantle an Atomic Bomb, released November 22nd, 2004, produced by Steve Lillywhite, of course, who produced some of the earlier albums in the discography. Hit number 1 everywhere, including the Billboard 200. It is 10 times platinum in Ireland, 5 times platinum in Canada, 4 times platinum in Australia, Denmark, and the UK, triple platinum in Argentina, New Zealand, Portugal, and the US, double platinum in Brazil and Spain, and platinum in Austria, Belgium, France, Greece, Japan, Mexico, Sweden, and Croatia. There are 4 singles off of this one. Vertigo charted the highest, hitting number 1 in Ireland, in the UK, and number 31 on the Billboard Hot 100. All Because of You and Sometimes You Can't Make It on Your Own also both hit number 1 in Canada. And this is where I find one of those fascinating things. Every now and then, a band hits outside of their home country. And it's fascinating when you see where some artists and some groups find themselves being listened to a lot. I love that Canada embraced U2 as much as they did. At the 47th Grammys, Vertigo won for Best Short Form Music Video and Best Rock Song and Best Rock Performance by a duo or group with vocal. And at the 48th Grammys, the album won for Album of the Year and Best Rock Album. Sometimes You Can't Make It on Your Own won for Song of the Year and Best Rock Performance by a duo or group with vocal. And City of Blinding Lights won for Best Rock Song. So lots of accolades for this one. Your thoughts and what's your pick?
I love How to Dismantle an Atomic Bomb. I loved that record when it first came out. I was like, okay, they're back. They're taking chances again. They're doing things that are really great. Sometimes You Can't Make It on Your Own. That song chokes me up every time I hear it. It's such a deeply personal song for Bono, I think. And it means a lot to me too. I love that song. There's nothing but great songs on this record. I'm going with Vertigo, though, as obvious as it seems, because it's just that guitar riff is. I remember hearing either Bono or The Edge talking about how when they found that riff, they couldn't believe that it hadn't been done before. It seems like a riff for the ages. It's so simple, but it's perfect. And they found it. They made great use of it. Even the beginning of it, the Unos, Dos, Tres, Catorces, is really, which I believe is 1, 2, 3, 14. It's really funny and great. And the whole song is great. It's a great song. Love it. Vertigo is my pick.
And how good is Adam Clayton's bass line on this?
Oh, it's so good too. Yeah, absolutely.
It's my pick as well. I can't disagree with anything that you've said here. I had Miracle Drug and Original of the Species on my short list.
Yeah.
But, as someone who kind of grew up listening to them, the return to Steve Lillywhite as producer, how much of that do you think affected your appreciation of this?
It was huge for sure. I mean, Steve Lillywhite's a much more direct producer, even though, it's not that he doesn't dabble in atmospherics, but he knows how to get a good drum tone, good drum sound, and how to record bass really well. And the work he's done with, not just U2, but also with Dave Matthews and Simple Minds and the many hundreds of other amazing records he's made over the years. Sort of shows that. We got to meet Steve Lillywhite in England in the 90s because we were looking for a producer for our second record, and it was great talking with him then. He was a very direct guy. He's always said that, that he recognizes that the importance of a band is not just the individual players and their ability on their instruments, but how they come together collectively as far as personalities go, and how the bass player may not be the best bass player, but if he's got a personality that makes the singer do better things for some reason, then that makes it a strong unit. And so I think anytime they've gone back to Steve Lillywhite, and they've gone back to him a lot over the years, the results have always been something that I've enjoyed.
New Line on the Horizon, released February 27th, 2009, hit number 1 everywhere. It is 4 times platinum in Ireland, triple platinum in Italy, double platinum in Canada, Denmark, and the Netherlands, and platinum in 17 other countries, including the US. 3 singles off of this one: Get Your Boots On, charted highest, hitting number 1 in Ireland, number 37 on the Hot 100. At the 52nd Grammys, the album was nominated for Best Rock Album, but lost to 21st Century Breakdown by Green Day, and I'll Go Crazy If I Don't Go Crazy Tonight was nominated for Best Rock Song and Best Rock Performance by a duo or group with vocal, but in both cases lost to Use Somebody by Kings of Leon. And I can't disagree, because that Kings of Leon song is such a good track.
That's a great song for sure. Yeah.
So off of No Line on the Horizon, what did you go with?
Well, this is a really fuzzy album. Get On Your Boots and I'll Go Crazy If I Can't Go Crazy Tonight. Those are like them trying to do the rock thing, but not succeeding as well as Vertigo succeeds. So I like the fuzzier stuff on this album more. I like Magnificent. I like No Line on the Horizons. I like the kind of the atmospheric turn that they took there. I can't remember who produced this, if it was Back to Eno or not. But it feels like it could have been a Back to Eno type production. Anyway, my pick for this is the title track, No Line on the Horizon.
Yeah, I'll be honest. This album didn't kind of sit with me as much as some of the other ones go. And I'm not quite sure why. And to answer your question, it was Brian Eno, Daniel Lanois, and Steve Lillywhite all behind the knobs in this one.
That might explain the fuzziness as a concept. It sounds like kind of the best of both all their works, but not focused well.
The Franken album.
Yeah.
Yes.
There you go.
I had Magnificent and White as Snow on my short list. The singles just didn't hit me on this one. I was really kind of surprised. But stand-up comedy actually did kind of stand out. And I think this is more because the Edge is just grooving on this.
Great bass line on that song as well. So, yeah, stand-up comedy is pretty fun.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Songs of Innocence, released September 9th, 2014. First album produced by Danger Mouse. Given free to all iTunes users and added to people's iTunes library automatically. I've never heard of anyone complaining about getting free music in their iTunes library, but yet people were still like, no, I have to get rid of this. I don't get it. I really don't. Hit number 1 in Belgium, Croatia, the Czech Republic, Netherlands, France, Italy, Poland, Portugal, Spain, and on the US Indie Store album sales charts. The album is double platinum in Italy and Poland, and platinum in Austria, the Netherlands, and Singapore. 3 singles off of this one: Every Breaking Wave hit number 53 in Ireland, and at the 57th Grammys, it was nominated for Best Rock Album, but lost to Morning Phase by Beck. So off of this, I mean, it's a bold move to kind of put it out there and say, okay, cool, you guys get all this album for free. I don't see that as a bad thing. But what were your thoughts on the disc?
I don't love this album. But there's definitely some things I've given it so many spins over the years, trying to make it sit with me, trying to let it, I feel like I've been planting the seeds and I keep on hoping that they'll come up. And not much of it is really like rooted into my psyche the way that other songs have. I do really like, I like the, what's the one? The Every Breaking Wave. That's a beautiful song. The song I picked, though, is Raised by Wolves. I like the Raised by Wolves kind of chorus of it. And I like it's kind of the spiritual successor to Sunday by Sunday. It's about 1974 bombings in Northern Ireland. And So it has that same kind of directness, and it's talking about something that obviously is close to home for them. So that's my pick, Raised by Wolves.
I like that you mentioned that it felt like the spiritual successor, because my pick on this is Every Breaking Wave, but that in itself kind of feels like a spiritual musical successor to With or Without You. It's kind of got that same 4-chord, very relatable kind of vibe to it. And again, there's that Adam Clayton. The bass line doesn't need to be complicated. It doesn't. It just needs to lull you in. And this is that 4-chord, 8th note walker that will lull you in and just have you head bopping the whole way.
Sorry to go back 25, 30 years from when this record came out. That bass line in With or Without You is so simple and so beautiful and perfect. I can see it being taken from the same kind of mold for sure.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, and that With or Without You song, like, I mean, it's hard to not mention that song because it was so big. I mean, anything on the Joshua Tree was going to be huge. And if Where the Streets Have No Name isn't on that disc, I think With or Without You kind of gets put in there because it also medleys so well with so many different songs. You do see bands pull out that medley where they can put With or Without You into anything, or anything into With or Without You. It's always fun to see a band pull that off.
Sure. Axis of Awesome, for sure.
Songs of Experience, released December 1st, 2017. Hit number 1 in Belgium, Canada, the Netherlands, Ireland, Portugal, and on the Billboard 200. It's double platinum in France and Italy with 5 singles. You're the Best Thing About Me charted the highest, hitting number 66 in Ireland and number 24 in France. So I think you have a much bigger selection of songs to pull from on this one that really kind of are nice ear candy.
Yeah, I feel like it's a better record than Songs of Innocence for sure. I think the overall quality of the songs is better. I like Bono's. I like where he's coming from lyrically with it better. It seems more. It seems more. I don't know, less kind of cloying or something. I enjoy what he's saying. Yeah. So, but again, it's not. Both these records are definitely my 3. We're getting into the bottom, the bottom 8th of the U2 albums here for me. But there are some things on Songs Experience that I like, and Lights of Home is the one that really stands out for me, and I kind of it keeps on coming back into my head. It's got that weird change into a completely different song at the end where, again, it seems like it's kind of like the end part, the coda has been kind of Frankensteined on to the rest of the song, but it works, and it's pretty good that way.
I'll admit, this is the last album I listened to in my research for this, and I got to You're the Best Thing About Me. I'm like, okay, this is a really, really good song. I kind of get into the groove. And then the very next song, Get Out of Your Own Way, I'm like, is this the same song? Because it kind of feels like the same song.
Get Out of Your Own Way, that the echo on the voice there, that just bugs me. It sounds like a bad Ed Sheeran thing or something like that.
I also had Summer of Love and The Blackout on my short list, but Love is bigger than anything in its way. I have a soft spot musically for songs that feel like they could be the end credit music for a film. And this very much feels like the kind of upbeat, whimsical, kind of nice, happy feel to an end of a film. And if ever there's a movie that's looking for a song like that, this is kind of that movie.
The producers should keep that in mind, because U2 could use some work right now. So, yeah.
Right? It's been tough times for them, I guess, right? We end our journey with the latest album, Days of Ash, the EP released February 18th of this year, 2026, produced by Jackknife Lee. Hit number 5 on the France rock and metal charts. There is one single of this one, Song of the Future, hitting number 11 on the US adult alternative airplay charts. This is how you know you've been around for a while. If you start to hit the AAA charts, you've been around a bit. But Days of Ash, this EP, brands making new music. Your thoughts?
Okay, so, I love the Days of Ash EP. And a part of it could just be that because with Songs of Innocence, Songs of Experience, those are long records. They're 11, 12 songs. It's really hard when you get to a certain age and your favorite band's putting out new music, it's tough for them to give you 12 songs and to get your mind around it. This thing, which is kind of they call it a 6-song EP. It's really only 5. There's that one thing which is more of a sound collage than an actual song in the middle of it. And I like every song on it. I really enjoy it. When you first, I think you told me about it. I didn't know it was even out. It had just come out, I think, a couple days before you let me know about it, and immediately started listening to it. My wife immediately started listening to it and just fell in love with every song on it as well. So yeah, I'm a big fan of Days of Ash, and I could pick American Obituary. I could pick The Tears of Things, which is, I find, quarterly just so interesting. Just the way that that song is put together is just really unusual for a U2 song. But I'm going with Song of the Future because I just love the chorus of it. It's really just good and upbeat, and American Obituary is like so timely and important, and dark and sad. And it's a great song, but sometimes I just need to pick something that's a little bit more uplifting. So Song of the Future is my pick.
Also, knowing Bono's penchant for world social justice kind of thing, it almost seems like the perfect time for you two to kind of come out with a handful of songs really speaking to the times that we're
Absolutely.
in.
And the record, I don't know if they were sitting on it for a long time. I mean, like, American Obituary is about an event that happened less than 2 months before the EP came out, which was the killing of Renee Good. And I don't know if they were like, okay, something's happening in the world, we got to get together and make a record. They've spent so many years making these records that are just not that great. And this feels like they did it quickly and it works. It doesn't feel like it's been put under a microscope as much. It feels like it's got a certain rawness to it that I think really works. I mean, they made Boy and War, and like those records were made in a matter of weeks, practically days. And those are such better records than they made in years. And I feel like this has that same kind of energy where they're not overthinking it. They're just putting out stuff that's really interesting and strong.
You also see a lot of artists these days, not necessarily going the full album route, but they'll release, songs over every couple of months kind of thing, and then kind of compile them into quote unquote album. Do you think an EP kind of also fits a little bit better as far as the public attention span goes?
100%. I think the EPs are definitely the way to go for sure. I think the more bands should do that. You don't need to be worried about, we used to be when it was LPs, it was all about having 22 minutes aside. And when it was CDs, it was about having a maximum of 74 minutes. And now those things are both kind of gone. Those are relics of the past. And so small little collections of songs is definitely the way that record, and put them out more often. You don't need to be waiting for a whole record cycle to happen. You can put out your best 5 songs when you got 5 songs you want to put out.
And you're absolutely right. Song of the Future is my pick. I had American Obituary and Yours Eternally on my short list, but Jeff, when you're right, you're right.
I think we're both right.
All right. So now comes the really hard part. So Jeff, please remind our listeners what your picks are. And then from those songs, if you can only pick one U2 song, what's it going to be?
Okay. My list was from Boy, Electric Company. From October, I Threw a Brick Through a Window. From War, Sunday Bloody Sunday. From The Unforgettable Fire, The Unforgettable Fire. From the Joshua Tree, Bullet the Blue Sky. From Rattle and Hum, Angel of Harlem. From Oxum Baby, The Fly. From Zooropa. From Pop, I think I said Please. From All You Can't Leave Behind, Elevation. From How to Dismantle an Atomic Bomb, I went with Vertigo. From No Line on the Horizon, I actually did a audible change. I was going to go with Magnificent, but I ended up picking No Line on the Horizon. From Songs of Innocent, Raised by Wolves. From Songs of Experience, Lights of Home. From Days of Ash, Songs of the Future. And I remember I forgot from Passengers, I went with Miss Sarajevo. I forgot that on my actual list. There can only be one. That is the directive of the show. And as I mentioned an hour or so ago, the one could be Pride in the Name of Love if I'd picked that on my list, but I didn't pick that song. And the reason is because Sunday Bloody Sunday does the same thing and does it better. And that is my one.
I find it funny that in a discography that features a big song by the name of One, no one picked One. So there can't only be one. All right. Off of Boy, I went with Out of Control. From October, I went with the title track. From War, I went with Sunday Bloody Sunday. From The Unforgettable Fire, I went with Pride in the Name of Love. From the Joshua Tree, I went with Where the Streets Have No Name. From Rattle and Hum, All I Want Is You. From Octung Baby, Until the End of the World. From Zooropa, I went with Stay Far Away So Close. From Passengers Original Soundtracks 1, I went with Slug. From Pop, I went with If God Would Send His Angels. From All That You Can't Leave Behind, I went with Kite. From How to Dismantle an Atomic Bomb, I went with Vertigo. Off of No Line on the Horizon, I went with Stand Up Comedy. From Songs of Innocence, I went with Every Breaking Wave. From Songs of Experience, I went with Love Is Bigger Than Anything in Its Way. And from the Days of Ash EP, I too went with Song of the Future. And this decision is killing me right now. This is a knockdown, drag-out fight between three different songs. Normally I know. Sometimes it comes down to like the last minute, kind of how I'm feeling that day. So in the running were Where the Streets Have No Name, Until the End of the World, and If God Would Send His Angels.
What? Really?
Oh, I love that song.
Oh, no, me too. Those are great, but I can't believe that Pride isn't in the running for your... Okay, all right. Okay.
I know. It's tough, right?
I thought maybe, okay, all right, okay. This is great. I'm loving the suspense of this.
And I was really, I thought this was going to be easy. It's not. Jeff, you gave us a tough challenge here on this one. I'm going to go with Where the Streets Have No Name, and only because I don't have a coin to flip. And it's first on the list as far as chronology goes. But really, at any given day, any of those three songs could be my only one. So, yeah, this was a tough one.
That's good. That's a good call. There's nothing wrong with that song.
Right now, Canucks fans are going, "You damn right it is." All right, Jeff, thank you so much for this. Now, please remind our listeners where they can find Moist online.
Okay, you can find Moist online at moistonline.com. You can find us on our usual, we're on Facebook, and I think we're on Blue Sky. Just go to moistonline.com and you'll find out what's going on with the band at any given moment. If there's nothing there, if we're not updating it, then it's just because we got nothing to report, but keep on checking back.
All right. And Jeff, you are more than welcome back on this show anytime.
Excellent. Thanks for having me, Jason. It's been really fun.
Pleasure is mine. Now, for you, our dear listeners, you guys know the drill. If there is an artist that you want us to cover on There Can Only Be One, or an album that you want us to cover on Spin Shuffle Skip, hit us up on social media at Only One Cast, or go to our website, notthatbadcast.com. And while you're there, make sure you check out that movie show, It's Not That Bad, because we got some good movies. Well, I'm not lying. We have some movies that we're talking about. Not all of them are going to be good. Until next time, he's Jeff. I'm Jay. You guys are awesome. This is There Can Only Be One, a proud member of the Pantheon Podcast Network. Take care.